At the start, I like to put Pylon here just in case I get shot in between and I need to regen health. And then I usually put my Pylon here. This one, sometimes I'll leave it here, sometimes it depends if somebody comes from this way. If they come from this way, I usually move it away, but usually I like it because the enemy team doesn't see it if they play here. They can only see it if they go that way. So that one is stable up until they push in. Otherwise, you could put it here. This one is a bit more safe, but it doesn't get too much healing going, so it's up to you. You could also put Pylon behind here. This one is good, probably maybe better than this one here, but I still like to keep it here. It's up to you, but when they push in from this side again, they will say that. If you push on the side with your team, you can put Pylon here and just play it on top. This one is good up until they come in, of course. Otherwise, they cannot see it. I don't like to put it here because it's very exposed from that side. It's great if you're like brawling between here, but that rarely ever happens. But even if you do, I will still just prefer to leave it outside. Maybe put it here. And once I push out the enemy team, I usually move my Pylon here inside, because there's never a moment where they're pushing themselves since we're just rolling them out. All these spots also count for when you come from that side instead from the spawn. The map are pretty mirrored, so every spot works on the other side too. If you're playing from the point and you're down here with your team and everything, you can put Pylon here, but I still prefer to just leave it behind it, to be honest. Just because if a tracer comes by, they usually, if you're very defensive about this one and body block it and stuff like that, this one most likely will stay alive compared to something else that you can put on the wall. I will discourage playing in here. It's a really bad spot, and you can really put Pylon anywhere. I mean, you could, if anything, if you ever end up here, just put it like this. That one is the most protected, because if you put it like this, you can see it very well. Anyways, if you play down here, putting Pylon here can be good. It doesn't heal up to here because of the closets blocking it. But I like to put it in a safe spot, or you can also put it down here like I showed on the other side. And if you're coming up from the stairs, you can just put it here. The same on that side. If you want to push the enemy team further in, you can put Pylon here for safety. You can do it on the same side from here. At the start, you can also put Pylon here. I think this is the most safe one, because even if they come from here, they don't see it. They can only see it once they like really push in the room. Same for that side. You can come here and just put it here. For this point, I like to put Pylon here at the start. And once you push in more, you can move it behind here. I don't like to put it too exposed because there's a lot of angles where they could be shooting from. Once you push in, you can put the Pylon here. It's pretty safe. The safest one so far if you want to put Pylon in this room. If you play on this side, you can put Pylon here. This is only good if the enemy team doesn't come from that way. But if the enemy team is down there and you're fighting with your team here, maybe, that one is pretty good. But I guess you can also put it up here. The only issue with this one is that if somebody comes from that way, which will most likely happen if the enemy team is there, that one is gone. So I feel like putting it down here is more safe. Just because even if they come from that way, they don't usually come from this way. If you play here and the enemy team is everybody's there and you're brawling, I like to put Pylon down here instead of like putting it here, because that one is a pretty awful spot in my opinion. It always gets destroyed. This is like famous spot, I guess, but I never really liked it. It feels like it's way too exposed. I only like it if I'm sitting on point and I'm poking the enemy there, but even then, why would you ever play down the point? I don't see this Pylon as being as good as others think. So if anything, if I play down here, I prefer to put pylon here like this, a bit higher and not too low, because otherwise they can save very easily. Point at the start, you could put pylon here if you want to push in here. Otherwise, you can put it here like this. I like to put it like this instead of like putting it horizontally, because if they push further in, they see it very easily rather than with this one. But you can also put it like that, just like to put it sideways. Once you push in, I like to put pylon here, as long as the enemy team is not there and they're on the point, maybe. This one is a bit situational, because if they do AoE damage or stuff like that, this one is gone. So you could also just leave it outside the room if you're afraid of them. And once I push in further, I like to put it on top here. It's a bit exposed only if you like walk up. Otherwise, it's very safe and nice. I found it to be staying alive very long, to be honest, even though it looks very exposed. And instead, if I'm the one on the point here, I like to put Pylon inside here. The enemy team doesn't see it. They only see it if they walk in. I feel like this one is pretty good because it's getting a big healing range for your team. You could also put it here. Depending on any side is good depending on the situation. Just be careful of people flanking because it's very exposed. And if the enemy team is playing on point and you're trying to push in and you're just cornered a little bit here, you can put Pylon here. It's not the greatest, but it's the safest one if you're having a tight situation. And instead, if you push in from this side, you can put Pylon there, like this. You could also come from this way and do the same. You could also put it down here. This one is both good and bad just because it's very exposed, but if you're pushing in from this side and the enemy team is on top or playing on the sides, it's pretty good because they don't really like come down here. If you play in the tunnel, I like to put Pylon here, and when you push in further, you can put it here too. Just be careful of like the enemy team coming here, and because it's very exposed from this side. And when you push in further and the enemy team is playing on point or down there, I like to put it here. It's not that safe because if somebody comes from that side, that one is gone, but I will only put it there if the enemy is all there or on point. And if you're brawling with other people from the other side on here, you can put Pylon here, same for any other side. And if you come from main, you can just put Pylon here. I avoid to put it here instead, just because if somebody like usually a soldier coming from that side and then seeing this one destroying it, or even if a tracer, usually flankers come from this side rather than that side because there's no cover. And if you're stuck outside here and you're trying to pressure the enemy team, you can just put Pylon on top. On this point at the start, I just like to put Pylon here. It's nice to let you peek and do some pressure damage. And then when you push in further, I like to put Pylon here. So it's more defensive for me if I want to keep on being a little flanker. I like to keep Pylon there instead of like putting it somewhere else around here, because I usually wall somebody on this side, so I don't like to put it too exposed. I would discourage putting Pylon here or there. It feels way too exposed every time and it gets destroyed very easily. If anything, just keep it behind here. And for when you're playing like around here, you can put Pylon here. Even if they push in from this side, it doesn't get destroyed because there's actually an invisible wall here, as you can see. So it's pretty nice and protected. This Pylon is a bit of a 50-50. It's good for... I usually put it here if I'm like over time and I'm trying to contest back the point. So this is good for that, but just be careful of people rushing you and stuff like that. I don't like to put a Pylon in the point, even on overtime. Maybe I will put it here if the enemy team is trying to recontest or is down there. But I usually avoid putting on the point because it's a bit too exposed. And for when I'm poking the enemy team and I'm playing like around here, I put it on top first. But once they push in further in, I like to move back a little bit and put it here. Only as like a defensive pylon, so if they like, if I take damage when I'm backing off, that one keeps on healing me, and then I just move it back. And on this side, if you're getting pushed out by the enemy team, I usually put pylon here, or I also put it here on this car. It just gets destroyed every time somebody plays on top here. They don't instantly see it, so maybe you can catch a glance on them on top before they destroy it, but if they like push in further in, they see it and destroy it. So be careful of that. I don't like to put it here, just because I had so many times where the enemy team will really pick in and destroy them. On this point at the start, I like to put pylon here. I feel like this is a really nice position if you're ever playing on top. And if you're playing on this side, on top here, I like to put pylon here. This one, you need to be careful because there's a lot of people coming from this way too. So be careful of that. If anything, you can put it here too, if you feel like it's gonna be more safe. If you're putting down here, I like to put pylon here because if somebody comes from this side, they don't see it. They only see it if somebody comes from this side. So be careful of that. You can also just put it here. It feels like it gets destroyed very easily though, in my opinion. Because if somebody pushes it in, this one is gone all the time. For when you're pushing the enemy team out, you can put pylon here behind this tire, because if they come from this way, they don't see it too. So I just like to leave it there. And if you're flanking here or trying to get some pressure, you can put pylon on top. And when you're playing overtime, you can put pylon behind here. It's not the safest because it's pretty exposed. So you could still put it in the room instead, but I usually leave it here even though it's not the best, but there's not many other options aside from putting it here. But then it doesn't really get the healing done. It's more of a safe pylon. And if you're pushing the enemy team from this side, I usually leave my pylon here. It's not great if somebody comes from that way, but I don't really have many situations where they do. I would discourage putting pylon on top here. It's very exposed and bad. Putting pylon here or there, it's actually not that bad. It's only bad once they push you in. Then you just have to move it. But otherwise, if you are retreating, it's a nice spot to put it for a moment. I will not leave it there though, because if somebody comes from top, it's always exposed.